When you think about your people, you might think, is this a lump of coal or a diamond in the rough? And here's what I'd say, it's all a matter of perspective, because we know that diamonds come from lumps of coal. They start that way to begin with. And you have people in your organization who might look a little bit more like a lump of coal. And you want to have the vision and ability to see the diamond that they can become. Now, in order for a lump of coal to become a diamond, it's got to go through a lot of experiences. Sometimes there's that intense pressure that the external forces put on that coal. So, in your organization, that might mean that there are people, you're going to have to put those people in key jobs that stretch them, that cause them to grow, that put some pressure on them so that the diamond essence of who they are gets to come out. And that's what we're talking about when we're thinking about, a lump of coal or a diamond in the rough. So people who look like lumps of coal, what you have to remember is they need that time to marinate. They need that time to be under the pressure and to come to their full brilliance. And what you also need in your organization is you need those people who can see that there really is something there beyond the coal, and you need people in the organization who can be stone cutters, who can cut the diamond at the right time, and ones who can polish it when it's time to actually polish the diamond. So you will get some talent in your organization because you recruit the talent that's already a diamond, that's already brilliantly shining. Great. You want to have those players on the team as well. In addition, don't pass by the lumps of coal, because some of them will be brilliant diamonds in the future. So, what I want to talk about today as an example of this is the story of Paul and Barnabas and a young man called John Mark. Paul and Barnabas were going out on their missionary journeys in the book of Acts. And on one of these journeys, they took John Mark with them. And John Mark was one of those lumps of coal. And Paul, it was a very demanding and exacting kind of guy. The Apostle Paul, he wanted things done right, and he wanted people who were committed. He wanted people who were persistent. And as they were going through hardships on these journeys, because they weren't usually welcomed in the towns where they visited, people were not happy to see them. They weren't happy to hear the message. And then at some point around about the area of Pamphylia, John Mark turns back and goes back home. Well, Paul didn't like that. In fact, he was very upset over it. The fact that John Mark would not finish the journey with the rest of the party. So later on, and I want to read this account. This is in Acts, the 15th chapter, starting in verse 36, going through 41. And we'll find out that Paul and Barnabas really, didn't get along about this. So it says, then after some days, Paul said to Barnabas, let us now go back and visit our brethren in every city where we've preached the word of the Lord and see how they're doing. Now, Barnabas was determined to take with them John, called Mark, but Paul insisted that they should not take with them the one who had departed from them in Pamphylia and had not gone with them to the work. Then the contention became so sharp that they parted from one another. And so Barnabas took Mark and sailed to Cyprus. But Paul chose Silas and departed, being commended by the brethren to the grace of God, and he went through Syria and Cilicia, strengthening the churches. Now, Barnabas had that kind of heart or mindset that said, I see the diamond inside of John Mark, and I believe that I can spend some time with him, I can develop him, and he will be a great resource down the line. Paul, on the other hand, wanted somebody that was already a diamond, who was ready to be a full-fledged partner with him. And so he went on his part of the missionary journey with Silas, and Barnabas took and mentored John Mark. Now, what's interesting about the story, if you know, is that much later on, when we get to the book of Timothy, we find that Paul actually asked for them to send him John Mark because he says John Mark would be useful to him in the ministry. So we know then that John Mark has grown since back in the early days and he has become more of that diamond. So I want you to think about it. You may not be the Barnabas in your organization, but make sure you have Barnabas people in your organization who can see that rough talent and who are willing to spend the time, who are willing to develop them, willing to polish them, knowing that that future diamond is really going to add value to your business and to your purpose and to your mission. So search for the Barnabas types and get some lumps of coal that later on will be the diamonds in the future of your organization.